Well, hi everyone. I'm John Ritlin with the retro review of House of Wax 2005, aka House of Wax. That man has a mask of wax, and this film was a total crap fest. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at rhyming this stuff. Only Derb and myself will get that joke because it's an inside joke there. It's making fun of some music that was in the movie, but my god, I had to retro review this because recently the 15-year anniversary of this movie happened, and well, this movie is more shit than I remember. If you've ever seen a movie called Tourist Trap, by the way, it was much more like taking the 1953 name House of Wax, the Vincent Price movie, the good one. I mean, even though it wasn't great, it had Vincent Price in it, so how could it not be good? And it really did the torture porn-esque aspect of Tourist Trap. They had Chuck Connors and little else in it, but that movie actually had some good moments. And Chuck Connors was pretty goddamn creepy in that. He was also the rifleman. But anyway, enough about that stuff. House of Wax 2005 was absolute shit. It was absolute goddamn shit. And it was worse than I remember. It came out only 2 years after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, which was also shit. And it's from Dark Castle Entertainment. This is when they were churning out stuff like crazy. It's like Blumhouse, except Blumhouse actually took, properties that could make way more money. I don't think Dark Castle Entertainment ever made as much as they wanted because this movie actually was populated by a pretty good cast at the time. Alicia Cuthbert, who was, the girl next door. Jared Padalecki, I always get that name wrong. He's the non-jock looking guy from Supernatural. You have Chad Michael Murray, who's in One Tree Hill. You have Paris Hilton, who plays the slut, so at least it was typecasting of the highest order. And then also Robert Richard. He played the character Blake. He was the black guy that did not die first, shockingly. That was a bit of a shock right there. So, you start off in 1974, and you got two brothers. One that's Vincent. He's very, very quiet and well-behaved. And then there's another one named Bo that is screaming a lot and throwing tantrums. And he's having to be strapped down. This factors in a little bit later. The mother's like, why can't you be more like your brother? But you never see the kids' faces. And then years later, you get this group of people from the cast I just mentioned that decide to go to a football game. And they take a shortcut that leads them to Trudy's House of Wax. Well, a town where Trudy's House of Wax is, it was this popular tourist trap. Because that's basically, again, what it is. It's fucking Tourist Trap. Just not nearly as good. A movie that came out about 40 years before this. And you get the typical stuff of, Chad Michael Murray's character is, like, he's got a past and everything. And he's just, like, he's acting like this tough guy, but he really loves his sister, Alicia Cuthbert. And, he just wants to protect her. And then, Jared Wade's character, the Wade character, he is dating Carly, Alicia Cuthbert's character, and then you get a whole bunch of stuff, and you get Paris Hilton being the not very good in this movie. I mean, to be fair, I think it was really just putting her here to kind of make fun of her, or maybe her make fun of herself. I'm not really totally sure, but they even reference her sex tape that happened sometime before this movie, where it got her famous besides being a Hilton heiress. And, well, the usual cliches and the usual bad music and stuff like that. And this town, by the way, is populated by a couple brothers that kill anybody, pull them off the interstate, and kill them and turn them into wax figures. Hence the term House of Wax. Or the title House of Wax. I don't know what else you would really expect from a movie called House of Wax. It's a shame that this movie felt the need to just be in that glut of 2000s horror movies where it got a little bit better, got a little bit better as the decade came to a close. Jennifer's Body is a prime example, even though it wasn't great, was pretty damn fun. May retro review that as well. But this was cliched characters, people making rock stupid decisions, and then the torture porn aspect, which involved one of the brothers, Vincent, turning people into wax figures, obviously spraying wax on them. And then, obviously while they're still alive and everything, and if you try to peel the wax off, you peel off their flesh. Oh no, it's all scary and everything. They tried to make you have sympathy for the characters, but that only helps if this movie has any characters. And it doesn't. It just has people making monumentally stupid decisions. Everybody camps out because they just can't make it the extra couple hours for this football game. They just can't possibly do it. They're too damn tired. They can't possibly get a, hotel in town. They just can't make it, so they sleep. Before that, they're all partying. This truck shows up, and it's just blinding them by the light, revved up like a, well, anyway. They break one of the headlights because the truck just won't goddamn leave. That truck factors in a little bit later, and then the next day, only one of their vehicles is busted. They took two vehicles. Instead of piling in the back of this one vehicle, they decide to essentially just, have, okay, hey, we'll all separate. That always works out well in movies like this. And you can go get a fan belt. Oh, and then also just before that, Carly, Alicia Cuthbert's character, goes into, falls down into a pit because they keep smelling this rotting flesh smell. So naturally, instead of going away from it, you go towards it. They find a pile of animal dead bodies. And then this one guy offers to give him a ride to town, but this town is all cut off from isolation. It's all isolated and everything. Nobody can get to it. You have to cross this little creek area. And the town's all deserted and everything. And oh yeah, there's these two brothers that are fucking killing people that they pull in from this whole thing. And that's what it is. It's just people getting, tortured, killed, and not even in a good way. It takes a very long time, well over a third of the movie, before anybody starts dying. They go to, when they go to, this funeral home, and there's one character, Bo, he, owns the gas station. He's like, well, I'll help you, but I wish you hadn't interrupted the funeral, which obviously wasn't the funeral. It was a funeral for the mom, because this town is cut off from time, because it's two brothers killing people. And instead of doing the obvious thing and just going back to their car and just trying to make something work, or just walking, they decide, stupidly go with this guy, or, stupidly go, wait around for him. Then they get a fan belt, a 16-inch fan belt instead of a 15-inch. Instead of trying to make that work, they go to the guy's house, obviously knowing that this guy is a killer, and he ends up trapping them, or traps Wade, the most market, I believe the most famous actor, probably the one that cost the most. And he was dispatched quickly. Achilles tendon cut. There were a lot of Achilles tendons and feet cut in this movie. And then he's put in wax. He's wrapped in plastic. It's fantastic. He's a little bit later. Chad Michael Murray's character shows up, and him and his sister reunite, and they're talking. She gets rescued after she gets some wax poured over her lips, and she rips that, and which had to hurt quite a bit, and then it's like yelling. The one guy gets Bo. He gets trapped outside of his gas station. All this stuff is happening. She said, and one line that somebody actually said that I wrote down, you don't get it, they're all wax. Everyone. Somebody got paid to write that. Somebody got paid to act that. These fucking stupid motherfuckers could have paid me and a couple pizzas, and I could have come up with a better script than this. And I'm not saying that the person that wrote the script isn't talented. I think they only wrote it in about a weekend. Or the studio just, fucking butchered 80% of it and just said, here's the 20% that's good, and we're going to put 80% filler. It's like, okay, well, the check cleared already. So, we get Paris Hilton and her boyfriend, everything. They're about to have a sex scene, and then a little bit later, he gets killed. She runs away, somehow manages to get to a building that was right by where they were camping. And she's hiding out. She gets her foot cut, and then the pole scene where she takes some pole right in the head, aka probably how she got the job. I don't think there's any probably about it. Paris Hilton taking a pole, taking the shaft. I mean, really, what else do you need me to say right there? That's the scene right there. That's the most iconic GIF from the GIF. That's how it's pronounced. At least in my opinion. But anyway, her getting the pole through the head is pretty much the only memorable part of this movie. And then there's a point where Carly and Nick are hiding in a theater, and Bo's hunting them. And then they dispatch him with a crossbow. A crossbow! Ha! I get it. Unfortunately, they didn't make a joke. They should have made a joke during it, because if you're going to make a movie this hammy and this stupid, you got to go full on stupid. So they kill him with a bunch of arrows. Or do they? They then go to the house, by the way, to search for Wade and their friend Dalton, who also was killed. Has freaking dispatched and then reattached with wax. So the gas station guy didn't die. He was even pulling arrows out. Now, Carly sees this. Now, despite the fact that she could have rushed this guy and probably stabbed him or hit him with something and knocked him out, giving him a concussion, made him even worse, just, is like, oh no, oh no, oh no, I can't do anything about that. And then the brother Vincent comes back and his face is covered and everything. Well, it turns out that these twins were born with like the face kind of attached like this and everything. So it was attached where this one face is facing out. So that's why Vincent's face is covered up. And he has Paige and Blake's body. And then they find the wax layer. Vincent comes down there. They pour the fire, pour the wax out. They pour all this stupid thing. This fire comes out. Vincent decides to be all stupid. The house is made of wax, hence the House of Wax. And it starts to melt down. And then they get in a fight with Bo somehow. I mean, he's not bow-legged anymore. I mean, he has all the arrows out, except for one that gets twisted and everything, because you have to have the fight scene to drag this motherfucking movie out. This movie could have been 80 minutes and probably would have been better because you had no characters, so you didn't need to make it an hour and 45 minutes. You really fucking didn't. Then they get rid of him. Vincent isn't happy, and instead of running out the door, just running out the door, she runs up the stairs. And then Vincent is almost stabbing Nick, and then he gets stabbed. And then they fall through, the wax floor and stuff like that. And they escape somehow. They escape through the wall. And then the police are investigating. And Nick takes the camera back, this camera that factored into the whole, the whole first part of the movie that their friend Dalton was filming with, because, that's good. We need first-person stuff in this. Oh, wait, the police say, it turns out that they didn't have 2 sons, they had 3. And it was the weird guy, from earlier that that threw an animal's dead, carcass and everything, an elk or something like that, and gave him a ride to town, but the town was cut off and everything. So he was the good brother. Maybe it was a way to hook, hook the audience for a sequel. I don't know what exactly the reason was, but I'll tell you this. That is exactly what I fucking think of this fucking shit. This movie was rotten. And it was good to make fun of for a while, but it's so draining because everybody has to make every stupid decision to basically advance the plot. Now, yeah, that's horror movie 101. But if you have some fun with it, you can actually make it work. And this movie didn't have any fun with it. It was just put out there as a cash grab. It kind of reminds me of the 2006 version of Black Christmas, which was easily, the worst one I thought until last year's came out. And if you saw last year's, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this movie is shit. Despite, the fact that they could have actually made it work, they didn't. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.